Call the regular meeting of the Ascension Parish Council, Monday, December 19th, to order. Our invocation tonight be led by the Reverend Ken Spivey of the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Department.
Would you bow your heads with me? Gracious Heavenly Father, it's during this season especially that we're reminded of your goodness and your grace. Lord, the words hope, joy, and love, they come to mind. We're reminded, Father, that had there not been a cradle, there wouldn't be a cross. We're reminded of when the angel appeared to the wise men and said, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be unto all men." We're reminded this season of the best in people. We thank you, Lord, for the goodness that you have shown to our great parish of Ascension. We look back on the year and we say thank you for how you have blessed us, you've kept us, and you've protected us. I pray as we look forward to the new year that we'll be reminded of your goodness and how you've granted wisdom. I just pray for each and every one of these council members, for our parish president, for our sheriff, for all of those, Lord, making decisions, that you'd divinely guide their steps, that you'd give them a supernatural wisdom, and Lord, they would continually do the will of the people. I pray that unity now would be prevalent and would unite us in all of the things that have to do with the betterment of our parish. We're going to make sure that we give you the thanks that you deserve. I ask it in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Spivey. Next, I'll have Brad Walker, Kamal Zahir, come up and do the pledge, please. Do the buds.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Next, Miss Jenny Harriman, would you please come forward and grace us with your song, please?
Please stand. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very nice, Jenny. Thank you.
Very nice.
Roll call, Ms. Sunland, missing tonight, Councilman Valentine and Councilman Joseph. Do not have any chair additions, public comment period. Anyone wishes to talk on any agenda item, sign in with Ms. Cinnamon, you'll be allowed 3 minutes. I don't have any presentations. Parish President's report, please.
I just want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a
happy and safe holiday season. I don't have anything else.
Okay, sir, thank you. I'll need a motion for the consent agenda, please. Moved by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 8, legal counsel, Ms. Tony Fortman, please.
This is a cooperative endeavor agreement between Ascension Parish and Ascension Economic Development to promote and develop the industry, commerce, and economic development in Ascension Parish.
I'll need a motion, please. Motion by Councilman Randy Cluart, second by Councilman Dennis Cullen. Any discussion? Any objection? Cooperative endeavor agreement is passed. Number 9, Mr. Mike Eads. Is Mike here, please? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. My pleasure to come before you tonight with a recommendation from the Board of Directors of Ascension Economic Development Corporation regarding an incentive for one of our fine existing industries who is giving serious consideration to a major expansion in our parish, but we are in competition, as we most often are. The project entails capital investment of about $106 million, a little bit more than $106 million. There will be 18 new jobs, very well-paying jobs. This expansion involves the introduction of a new product line to this operation, which is always good because it makes it more mission-critical, in the company's scheme of things. The more products they get under their wing, the more important they are to the company. So, as you see there, the state has laid some pretty substantial incentives on the table already, and what we're asking or suggesting, recommending the council do is to offer this firm a rebate of your 1 cent sales tax on the construction and initial equipping of this operation. And the estimated cost or value of that is $781,000.
Council, I need a motion, please. Motion by Councilman Randy Cluart, second by Councilman Kent Shakespeare. Any discussion? Councilman Shakespeare.
Just to inform everyone, this is a process that economic development is taking on. Instead of going and bringing these things in haphazardly, they do have a process now that meets certain criteria, so that when these incentives come to us, they've already passed criteria as to positive impact on the parish, and this is certainly one of them. And hopefully we'll get some more soon. This is a very good thing for the whole parish. So.
All right, sir. Any more discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Item 10, 2009-2010 capital outlay funding. Ms. Martha Collins, Grants Officer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. This is a capital outlay request that we had applied for in 2009-2010. We were awarded, and what this is we need a recommendation for you to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to sign this corporate endeavor agreement and allow Ms. Gwen LeBon to sign all financials, please.
Motion by Councilman Adrian Thompson, second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 11, Ms. Collins, Grant Officer.
All righty. Let's see which one went first. All right. This particular item is Gustav Ike funding. It's for wind hardening of 5 public facilities. We were awarded the funding for this. It's for the fire departments, Prairieville, Santa Ma, Geismar, Sorrento, and Donaldsonville are the sites. In accordance with the Ascension Parish Ordinance, the Engineering Professional Selection Committee evaluated and scored the responses using the criteria established in the request for qualifications. The Selection Committee recommends accepting the qualification statement submitted by Quality Engineering and Surveying, and to authorize Tommy Martinez to sign and execute all documents pertaining to this grant, and Ms. Gwen LeBlanc for all financials.
I'll offer that motion and also have a question.
Okay, a motion by Councilman Adrian Thompson.
Second.
I got a second by Councilman Dennis Cullen.
I'm going to recuse myself.
Mr. Councilman Thompson?
Yes, sir.
When you named those fire department, why wasn't Fifth Ward included?
This was, goes back to our hazard mitigation plan when we did it in, I think, 2009, right after the
Okay.
Katrina, and these were the sites that were recommended.
Councilman Joseph?
Yes, Ms. Martha, you said Donaldsonville. What building in Donaldsonville?
It's the fire department. These are all fire departments.
Which building of the fire department?
Which building?
Yeah, I mean, they have a fire, is the city of Donaldsonville one?
Inside the city limits, yes. It's the same, it's only one fire department, right?
Mhm.
In the city of Donaldsonville?
And they building a new one? Or this grant gonna go towards the new one?
No, sir, this is just to repair and wind harden.
They don't have any funds at this particular time to build a new one, so we wanted to harden this one for a few years, so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Okay,
All right. That wasn't listed on my report, so that's the reason I'm asking.
okay, not a problem.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Cinnamon, take note, Councilman Joseph has arrived. Item 11.1, condemnation proceedings for the,
No, I got one more.
oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry, go
Chairman,
ahead, Martha.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I know y'all used to slam dunk to me real quick,
There
but
you
I
go.
got to say these. All right, these are also FEMA funds. This is for this one is Katrina Rita, the other one was Gustav. This is to win retro of critical facilities. The two facilities that will be retrofit is the Parish President's Office and Dutchtown High School. In accordance to the Ascension Parish Ordinance, the Engineering Professional Selection Committee evaluated and scored the responses using the criteria established by the request for qualifications. The Selection Committee recommends accepting the qualification statement submitted by Providence, GSE and Associates, and to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to sign and execute all documents pertaining to this grant, and Ms. Gwen LeBlanc for all financials. I'd request a motion to accept their committee.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Kent Shakespeare. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Laverne Bourgeois, item 11.1, condemnation proceedings for the 41486 Waterstone Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the council. Tonight, I come to you for a condemnation proceeding with guidance from you to further the process. This is on 41486 Waterstone Avenue, Prairieville. The house had a tremendous fire and destroyed it almost totally. It's been sitting there for the last 4 months or so. We've contacted the owner. There's a timeline that I've issued to you recently. And then, as of last week, the owner has written us a letter giving permission to the council to move forward, no objection to have this building removed. And with that, I would wish for your guidance tonight.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion?
Just one. Thank you, Laverne, for the quick work on it there.
You're welcome, sir.
Right.
Any more discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Plan Director Ricky Compton, please. Zone review ID 217311. Before we get to you, where's Ricky? Before we get to you, I have a few speakers. First one will be Dan Satterley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Councilman. The turtle and the snake. In my career as a college professor, my goal was always to produce a well-rounded student, prepared for the rigors of the life in the real world. This was achieved by not only directing their minds to acquire pertinent subject matter and conduct critical thinking, but directing their hearts towards moral character. One method I frequently used was to tell my students stories. One of my favorite stories that I believe to be appropriate for tonight's discussion of Rain Rod is the story of the turtle and the snake. With a raging forest fire behind them, a turtle and a snake met. They met with each other on the bank of a river. "I can't swim. Let me ride on your back," said the snake. "Oh, no," replied the turtle. "What if you decide to bite me as I swim across with my neck exposed?" "Trust me," said the snake. "I will not bite you. If I were to bite you, then we would both drown." It sounded logical, so the turtle, being a trusting soul and not wanting to doubt the sincerity of the snake, agreed. The snake crawled up onto the back of the turtle, who swam with all his might toward the opposite bank to escape the forest fire. Just before reaching the other side, the unsuspecting turtle felt something sting his neck. The snake bit him. "Why did you do that?" the turtle shouted, with shock as he felt the poison quickly numbing his limbs. "Because I'm a snake," came his hiss. "What did you expect? A snake will always be a snake, gentlemen. Accepting one untruth like the turtle did can be deadly, bringing about consequences that can never be reversed. If someone has not proven trustworthy, do not trust them. Practice the mantra, fool me once, but don't fool me twice. The turtle didn't have a second chance. Citizens, power-corrupted politicians can be like the snake in this story. Don't listen to what they say, rather watch what they do. Their actions, not their words, will define them. Councilmen, every vote must be made with the moral character to do first what is right for the people. That's what we heard in tonight's invocation. No matter the cost, forgetting political capital and political correctness. This is and will always be my belief structure. I thank all of you for listening to this very truthful and, I believe, most appropriate story. I would ask Ms. Gaultier to include my comments in the public record. Thank you again.
Catherine Goblet.
Good evening, Councilman, and Happy New Year. I probably won't see you till the new year. Will Rain Rod become Ramrod? Will this council tonight cram a zoning change down the throats of citizens that, like poison, chokes out property values and the quality of life? Or will you follow the recommendation of the Zoning Commission to deny this zoning change? Rain Rod became a lightning rod in the Council District 4 runoff. This issue alone propelled more voters to the polls in Precinct 1 than the primary, where this zoning change is proposed, ousting incumbent Council Chairman Bell, who was backed by the political machine. The planning and zoning process is favorable.
Ma'am, you know the rules. You don't mention anyone's name.
Please add 20 seconds to my time, so you're interrupting me.
Any names, company, anybody. You stick to the point.
20 seconds to
Your
my time.
wants, your dislikes, we're not talking about.
Planning and zoning process is favorable
Walmart.
for the developers, the planning and zoning process is favorable to developers, not property owners. Much of the process takes place in the privacy of government offices, with officials who are not required by law to include those affected most. Though staff is required by law to notify adjacent property owners, this does not always happen, demonstrating that they cannot be trusted to represent the interests of property owners. No one can represent your interest better than you. The property currently zoned medium residential allows 3 homes per acre. The zoning change being considered is mixed use, defined in tables as the most intensive residential and commercial development with the highest density allowed, up to 20 homes per acre, and should include apartment buildings, townhouses, along with clustered commercial. Residents are opposed to the zoning change because it will dramatically change what is currently allowed. The Commission considered it spot zoning. 4 important points. The application only mentions constructing tennis courts, but in the public testimony on July 13th, the Baton Rouge developer added a restaurant with a bar. 2, the scope of the development continues to morph with time, and in November 3rd public meeting, a SPUD was discussed for this development. 3, no documentation has ever been produced to show that the developer has access to Airline Highway from this landlocked piece of property. 4, the developer does not have the ability to upgrade the present sewer treatment facility for Perkins Oak subdivision as he claims. What this development will become, if left as medium residential, is much more definable and acceptable than if changed to mixed use. Uncertainty of the tables and the lack of trust on the public side leave
That's
only
your time,
one
ma'am.
acceptable
Time's up.
option. Accept the
Ma'am,
Commission's
time is up.
recommendation. Deny the
Time
zoning
is up.
change. Your time is up, sir.
Right. Before I bring up Mr. Mark Allen, I'll make a statement here, and pay attention to what I'm saying, whether you like it or not. Whatever's on this agenda, you discuss that, whether you want it or you don't want it. This is not a personal vendetta against anybody. You don't bring up anybody's name. You don't bring up a company. You don't bring up the administration. It's not going to happen. I will gavel you. Your time is up, and if you continue to mess up, the deputy in the back will take you out, okay? Mr. Allen, please.
Thank you, sir. I don't have no political agenda. I don't want nobody's seat. I just want some facts and details of what people want to put on that property. It's been 1 year since that property was bought. We've heard what they're going to put there, and all we get is one barroom sketch. There's not a plot plan, there's not a drawing, there's no access. And if you took what we had today to your permit department and it was owned, you couldn't build nothing because it don't mean anything. Randy, we couldn't even get a permit to go to work if we didn't have no more than this. Put the facts on the table. I don't care about politics or who's got a seat. Show us what they want to do. You can't vote on something if you don't know what is going to be built. This affects me and my family more than anybody. I own the other piece of this property that this was cut out of. It could be the best thing since sliced bread. We don't know because we don't know what anybody wants to put there. Talk's cheap. If the smell of ink makes you sick, he's in the wrong business. Put it on paper so that people can see what they want. You can't vote on this. You can't accept it. You can't deny it because you don't know what you're doing. Thank you for your time. I hope I didn't say nothing out of place.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Charles Davis, please.
I'm Charles Davis. I've been a resident of Belgrove for nearly 31 years, so I've seen a lot of changes in that area, and this is one I really don't want to see. And I agree with the last person that spoke very much, and I'm against the Ryan Road rezoning request, and I would hope that y'all would accept the zoning commission's recommendations, because I see some bad things in the future if this is passed. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Mr. R. King.
Thank you, sir. I've lived in Prairieville for about 25 years. I have seen the progress of the traffic on Old Perkins Road just get totally out of hand. The traffic on Highway 42 has gotten so bad that I'm sure that Mr. Chris Lohr will agree that he's tickled to death that the state is now going to widen 42. And until we have some infrastructure improvements on our streets and roads, I don't see why we have to build new places, especially a tennis court. Now, I just spoke with someone that lives in Pelican Point, and he says they have a beautiful tennis court there, and he could ride his golf cart to go play tennis, but there's hardly ever anyone there playing tennis. Now, they might have invested $800,000 here on a tennis court, but let's do the math on that. How $800,000 and you don't have a good access off of a main highway? What's the ulterior motive? Could they just be trying to get this passed because it sounds like a easy, quiet thing to do, and then have some ulterior motive? I'm just about sick of the traffic now because I believe that Prairieville is just like little New York. I'm scared to go drive at night out there. They're going 65 miles an hour on Airline Highway, and you just wonder what's going on in our little Prairieville area. And I'm just about ready to go to Cocodrie and hang it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Scott Sayer. Mr. Sayer?
Good evening. My name is Scott Sayer. I live at the end of Old Perkins Road, and I'm in favor of denying the zoning request because I fear, just like everybody else has stated up here, we really don't know what's going on, and we don't have a complete plan yet. So I'm asking you to deny the zoning request on behalf of myself and my neighbors. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Mr. Gregory Mascarella? Okay, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I moved to Prairieville right after I came back from overseas in 2003. There wasn't much out there. You know, the Walmart, I think, had just gotten built. Traffic was starting to build up. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about why they don't want it, the reasons, the sewage, the drainage, the streets, and all that. But there is one thing that is pretty important that I think you need to keep in your minds. I walked up and down the roads the last couple of days getting signatures and talking to people and letting them know. We showed them everything they needed to know. And without exception, everyone said they did not want this rezoned. They want it left as is. That being said, that means that the majority of the people affected, meaning your constituents, have said they don't want it. And I'm thinking there's a reason I went overseas to fight and serve, and that was for our Constitution. And that means that we're an electorate-type Constitution. In other words, the people voice their opinion, and you're supposed to listen. So if a majority of the people have said, we don't want it, it's kind of obvious what you have to do. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right, sir. Mr. Danny Messenger? Danny Messenger.
Don't make me mention the Constitution. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I didn't hear my name. Name's Danny Messenger. I live on Plantation Court. Just want to go on record of saying that I'm against the rezoning request. I've never been involved in politics, but due to the fact that this issue could potentially seriously adversely affect my property value, I believe that I must get involved and do whatever I can to stop the proposed rezoning. I don't like the way the issue's been handled from the very beginning. The first time I heard about the proposed change was secondhand by a neighbor. I heard of a few neighbors being handpicked to have small meetings to explain to them the value of the rezoning. I attended one of these meetings and I even commented to the proposed developers that it just didn't feel right that they would be small meetings of a few select neighbors to address the issue. Why wasn't everyone in the subdivision included? Why was it held in secret? Maybe I'm naive, but it just didn't feel right. When I heard about the SPUD, I thought, this is a great option. We could have a voice, some control on what was being developed. Then I learned that we would have no seat at the table when the decision was being made. Our voice and our seat at the table meant nothing if we were not present when this budget was being drawn up, and our wishes could be thrown out the window. That just does not feel right. Why didn't the developers invite everyone to a meeting to discuss the issues and to explain that they would improve our community without jeopardizing our property values? Why did they not include us? I don't feel included. I feel like this project is just being shoved down our throats. To me, the perceived attitude is, who cares about these homeowners? Why was this meeting held after the recent runoff election? Why was it held before Mr. Satterley was sworn in? The timing of this seems suspicious. Why was it decision to change the law and eliminate the current Planning and Zoning Commission and handpick new ones?
Sir, that's not on this agenda item, okay, sir?
Okay. Prior to that statement, everything just does not feel right. We were promised that we would be protected. We were promised that our property values would be protected and there would not be apartments built in that area. Can y'all guarantee us that? Can y'all guarantee us that there will not be any commercial development built on this property outside of what is being proposed? Can we guarantee that there will never be access to our land from our streets? Can you really protect us? Will you really protect us? Please vote against the rezoning. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Ms. Tracy McCarley?
I'm Tracy McCarley. I live on Plantation Court, and I want you to uphold the decision of the Planning and Zoning Board. Please do not rezone the Rainrod property. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Ms. Lisa Lusko?
Good evening. I'm Lisa Lusko. Merry Christmas and thank you. I'm going to talk like I'm the developer to prove my point this evening, so I'll be the developer. You see, I have this idea of building a tennis club, but I couldn't really afford to buy any commercial property. So I found me a piece of beautiful residential landlocked property that I got on the cheap, and that helped my bottom line. And I bought it figuring that rezoning it to commercial would be a piece of cake. I even met with neighbors and promised them to fix a sewer system to make them feel like they needed my development. I thought it would sound good to you guys, too. The sewer company's going to fix it anyway, but that's neither here nor there. And hey, I know I misled officials about having access to my property on Airline before. My bad. It's just, I could have bought some commercial property for that too, but it just affects my wallet. I think I have that access thing nailed down now by using some lots that I bought at the end of Perkins Oaks, and I'm trying to get around some deed restrictions on that right now to make it work for me. For the life of me, I can't imagine why these neighbors are complaining. Yeah, I'll forever change the zoning of the land adjacent to their backyards, and I know that they've lived there a long time, but I just need what I need. It may all work out for them, and if I can get my target 700 members and plus my bar, plus my restaurant, and I can stay open late and for parties and try not to disturb them. And I know that my newly acquired residential property is their only buffer before Airline Highway, but I really need it to be commercial. I know I'm not a resident. Heck, I'm not even a businessman. I just have this idea and very limited funds. I know my private club won't even bring tax dollars to the parish that much, but I'm hoping it'll make me rich and make tennis-loving members happy. The residents are happy taking the risk, keeping this zoned RM, and all the things that it could be. So I called a few residents last week as a last-ditch effort and tried to use their thoughts against them. I told them that if this doesn't go my way and get rezoned, I told them I'd cut down all the trees to recoup some money on timber. And then I told them I'd put a big trailer park with trailers on stilts. After all, somebody needs to pay for my bad business decision of buying residential land. That'll show them. I know that rezoning this to mixed use would put their property values at risk if my business fails and I sell it because of the commercial value that you grant me. I want you to take my side over 300-plus residents because I'm sort of stuck now. Well, Councilman, that's it in a nutshell. Forget the drainage, the traffic, the access, the wetlands, all of it. The possibility that this could even be a close vote in favor of this developer is appalling to the residents in this area. What if your backyards were going to mixed use? Your very backyards. What would you expect of your councilman? We have zoning for a reason, to protect residents against things like this. Thank you for your consideration, and Merry Christmas.
Next, I have Ariel Cabazon. Ariel, I think I'm saying that right. Am I, sir? Ariel? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Councilman. My name is Ariel Cabazon. I live on Red Oak Drive in the Perkins Oak subdivision. And as Officer Pro Tem, I represent the members of the Preserve Historic Perkins Road Association, abbreviated PHPRA. This organization was recently assembled as a result of the events that has led us here this evening. Our goal as an organization is to help unite our community, provide our neighbors with much-needed education on local government activities, and establish a single voice to communicate to our parish elected officials our concerns and our desires as free tax-paying citizens of this rapidly growing parish. The current 50 members and growing of PHPRA stand unified in our resolve to oppose the rezoning of property in the Perkins Road area owned by Rainrod, from residential to mixed use. The proposed rezoning would allow for development now or in the future that is not desirable in a residential environment and could potentially adversely affect our quality of life and property values. This is a risk that we are not willing to take and should not be asked or expected to entertain. We understand and completely appreciate that every citizen of this country has a right and the privilege of having a dream to start and operate a business, as well as a right and privilege to purchase property on where to establish such a business. However, there are laws to help protect a community so that those that aspire to be business owners must consider the well-beings of others. Mr. Dornier, the primary representative of Rainrod, purchased property that is zoned residential for the purpose of establishing a business that requires at least mixed-use zoning. With the number of available properties in the surrounding area that are zoned for mixed use, one has to wonder why someone would purchase residential property as part of a business venture without sufficient due diligence in respect to zoning matters. We, as members of this community and with assets that can be negatively impacted by this request, cannot find any reason why this request should be granted. We ask that you, as both our elected officials and our fellow residents of this parish, give sincere consideration to our position and accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation to deny the request by Rainrod, Inc. to rezone Track A1-A from residential to mixed use. However, if the final vote of the council does not support our views, we will persevere. It is our preference to work together for the best of all, rather than for the best of a single individual. In all matters relevant, our organization is committed to maintaining and improving the community we all call home. I thank you for your time and for giving me the opportunity to present my community and the members of Preserve Historic Perkins Road Association. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Miss Judy Davis. Judy Davis.
Please enter these documents into the public records.
Good evening. I'm Judy Davis. I've been a resident of Ascension Parish for almost 30 years in Bell Grove subdivision. I'm also a realtor for that amount of years. The Planning Commission has recommended that no zoning change to the piece of property behind our subdivisions off of Old Perkins Road. I, as do all the residents that you've heard and that you will be hearing tonight, polled in our neighborhood, agree. I have to be placed on record. What we understand is that Mr. Dornier has possibly gained access to Maryland Highway on the Philip Thomas property, and that he has also purchased 4 lots at the end of Perkins Oaks Part 1. If he does use the access that we understand that he is obtaining, it would be necessary that he come through some of those lots, some of those 4 lots at the end that are vacant. I have pulled the covenants for Perkins Oaks 1 that was recorded on June 7th, 1983, and it runs for a period of 30 years. And within that 30 years, which will expire in 2013, nothing but residential use can be placed on those 4 lots. And I'm going to give these for your record. I also want to place on record the act of cash sale that when Mr. Dornier purchased the property, and it explains everything that he did purchase. I do recommend, as many of us do, that the Planning Commission has recommended that no zoning change be made, and we all agree with that. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Sharon Sanders, please.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Sharon Sanders, and I live on White Oak Drive, adjacent to the proposed rain rod development. I am requesting that the council keep the zoning as it is, vote to keep the zoning as it is, and that's medium-intensive residential. The Zoning Commission denied the application for a zoning change from medium residential to mixed use on July 13th. Residents demand that you accept their recommendation. Please stop dragging your feet and protect our property rights and quality of life. You are holding residents hostage because uncertainty causes property sales to be delayed or prevented. Early on, the developer placed a flyer on our doors. In this flyer, he attempted to get support for his development by promising to upgrade our sewer treatment plant. I ask you, how can a developer who does not own the facility of the sewer treatment plant or have a perpetual contract to operate the plant upgrade something he does not own? The answer is he can't. I have had both written and verbal communication with the owner. Mr. Heath has confirmed that the developer cannot deliver on his promises. The sewer issue was a distraction from the real issue, which is a change in zoning. When I spoke with Councilman Scheck-Snyder on the phone, he asked me this question: don't you want a new sewer system? The answer is no. I have documentation to place in the public record that in early July, prior to the Commission's denial of the rezoning, that the owner, Mr. Heath, had been given approval from the Department of Health and Hospitals to upgrade the system. These upgrades have been completed. Additional upgrades required by government agencies are planned. Mr. Heath is committed to keeping our charges for sewer at the lowest possible rate. Any mechanical upgrades will increase our monthly fees, and residents do not support rate increases. I understand from the developer that he wants a mechanical package system. This uses more energy, although it will fill in that 8-acre pond that he must get rid of in order to do a lot of development. At the November 3rd public meeting, residents were blindsided by the possibility of a planned unit development suggested by the planning director. After reviewing the code in Appendix 6, this option is even more undesirable than a change to mixed use. We do not want the uses that are allowed currently in your zoning tables under mixed use next to our subdivision, such as mobile home parks, commercial uses that include but are not limited to bars and lounges, kennels, motels and hotels, sales and storage of construction materials, or any industrial use. Please leave the property zone.
Thank you,
as
Ms.
it
Sanders.
is.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have documents.
Next, I have, yes, ma'am. I have Cheryl White, please.
I'm a resident of Belgrove subdivision and an adjacent property owner. I am against the rezoning of the Rain Rod property and would like to submit a petition signed by 33 of my neighbors who feel the same way. We ask you to please uphold the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, ma'am. Bobby Cabazon, Cabazon? Okay.
Hello, Mr. Chairman and council members. My name is Bobby Cabazon, and I have a home in Perkins Oak subdivision. In 1985, I purchased property on Red Oak Drive at the age of only 21 years old. My husband and I, newly married and residing in Baton Rouge, explored the then largely rural and undeveloped area of Old Perkins Road and Airline Highway, as we dreamed of and planned for our future. We believed this particular area of Ascension Parish offered property that would allow our investment to grow alongside the promise that we saw for the growth in this parish. We also saw a small neighborhood perfect for creating a home and raising a family. For almost 22 years now, we have enjoyed our home and neighborhood. Our initial investment has appreciated several-fold, and our parish continues to experience rapid growth. Today, our neighborhood includes young adults, families with children of all ages, and retirees with grandchildren. After many months of controversy surrounded this proposed development, alongside the plethora of contradictory information, we believe that the residents of our neighborhood would value clear, factual information that could be used to form a clear-minded and informed position. To that end, alongside other longtime residents of our neighborhoods, my husband and I have polled our neighbors door to door in search of their opinions on the rain rod request. We carefully provided factual information about the property, the application, and the differences in allowable uses under the current and proposed zoning designations. As demonstrated by the 100 resident signatures collected, we speak with our resounding one voice that we do not want this property rezoned. For nearly every door that was open to us, nearly every person that expressed interest in knowing the facts, there has been an overwhelming call to accept the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission and deny the request to rezone this property from residential to mixed use. Thank you for the opportunity to state my opinion and also to represent the opinions of so many of my neighbors. We appreciate your consideration on our behalf and implore you to put our concerns first, as the proposed development offers no quantifiable or substantial benefit to the parish as a whole and should carry no weight against our preference to maintain a safe and peaceful environment surrounding our homes in the nostalgic and historic area of Old Perkins Road. I would like to enter these petition signatures into the public record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Mr. Rob McCauley.
Hi, my name is Robin McCarley, and I actually own a home in Belgrove neighborhood on Plantation Court Drive, and I'm here to address the issue before you, agenda item number 12, with the Rain Ride project. And what I want to point out here is you have to remember the magnitude of this piece of property. It's around 30 acres. Okay, this is not just a tiny piece of property. And we're changing it, or the desire would be to change it from medium intensity residential to mixed use. I implore you, please, please, for my families and all the families around me who live near me, please do not change this zoning and go with acceptance of the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. At the November 3rd Oak Grove Community Center meeting on this topic, an elected official from the parish, upon being questioned by a member of the public of Belle Grove about his voting in favor of the rezoning, responded, "I don't think so, ma'am." The public official also stated to the public, "I want you to sleep easy tonight. I know that this is on a lot of your minds. We are going to take care of this. Don't worry." I live adjacent to the tract of land that is subject to the zoning review. A change in the zoning from MU1 would allow building of up to 20 units per acre adjacent to my neighborhood. And just for pictorial nature, I've actually taken a sketch of that property with Belle Grove and with the Perkins Oak subdivision. You can see what that would look like. It's horrendous. This is the possibility that if you change that zoning, this is what we could be facing. And I want to introduce this into the public record. Okay. And as a result of this, the potential possibility of affecting this property value and the property values of other people in my neighborhood, it's affected their ability to sell their homes. My friend Greg Abney, he's not able to be here tonight. His property is immediately contiguous with this property. He has had his house on the market for 10 months now. Every time he gets a close possibility for sale, they walk away whenever they find out about this because he has to reveal that information. Okay? So changing the zoning for such a possibility to occur is really going to hurt us. I hope that the adjacent landowners and neighborhoods and neighbors, nearly 300 households of potential voters in all, have their faith in government restored tonight so that we can sleep easy once again. Okay? The only way that this can actually happen, that the residents of Belgrove and Perkins Oaks and the members of the historic Perkins Road Association can have that happen or be able to sleep well tonight, is by not having the zoning changed, period. Which means you have the responsibility of accepting the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation. I want to thank you all this evening for your time. God bless you all, and I hope you have a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas, and I hope that we receive a very Merry Christmas present this evening. Thank you.
Ms. Rebecca Knockin. Rebecca Knockin. Okay, next will be John Rosso. Am I saying that right, Mr. Rosso?
You got it right,
Okay.
Mr. Rosser. But I do respectfully request to withdraw my name for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Mark Lambert. Mr. James Bollinger.
Good evening, Councilman. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you. I, unlike all the other folks who've spoken to you, am not a long-time resident. I floated up with the rest of the poor people from St. Bernard. I can claim to have paid $20,000 more than I should have for the house just before the bubble burst. I can't claim to be very smart about it because I hadn't researched the whole effort. What I'd like you to do is for a moment understand that if we have two groups fighting over what's real and what's truthful about what the development is going to be, I'd like you to forget all about that and think about the long-term impact of doing this rezoning on that property. We have commercial on the highway, we have commercial across the street in Walmart, and we are about to have commercial in the back of us. And I think it stands to reason that we're going to take a beating on the property. If you can just visualize Baton Rouge, the city of Baton Rouge, the number of strip malls, and what they do to a neighborhood when they're abandoned. If you think about what the impact of high-density housing does. When I was 16 years old, I had this utopian feeling about bringing folks in to live among middle-class folks. What a dummy, okay? They did that in New Orleans and ruined the entire eastern part of the city. Unfortunately, there were no services for those people. You know, things don't change. The point is, if you rezone this property, it's going to monumentally affect the value of these homes. And I, for one, who've seen the generosity of American corporations and politicians, I can tell you that I'm really getting tired of it. I tell you, if I want to give my opinion to a United States Senator, I can send him a letter and I can expect that some 20-something would send me a very nice reply letter saying, thank you, and I'll consider your thoughts. But here in this small community, I hope that the demonstration you see tonight would convince you that you know very well what the majority would prefer. And I would ask before the meeting is over that you ask for a general show of support in favor of adopting the Planning Commission's recommendation and denying this rezone. It's going to just give Louisiana another black eye for doing one hell of a job in community planning. when you just build a three-road subdivision and then surrounded by commercial. So I thank you very much for listening.
All right,
And
sir.
I'd like you to.
Mr. Doug Badon, please. Thank you, sir. Doug Badon.
Thank you very much. I'm here to voice my objection to the rain rod development with just a few supporting comments, if I might. I'd like to back up and look at this from a little bit larger perspective as to why we're all here. You know, really, the parish has much more important business to conduct than to hear people squabbling about property rights. But property rights are a very touchy subject to all. We know that. I watched and listened as we went through these PUD ordinances. They never got developed. A lot of friction, a lot of animosity. Tonight, you hear a lot of animosity in the room, two sides taking sides. We're all one parish moving in one direction for the good of all. And what I would suggest, when you look at this project, you feel bad for the developer. He spent $800,000 or whatever. It was a bad decision. You feel bad for the residents in the area. They've spent millions of dollars in their property values. They spend millions of dollars in sales taxes every year. Okay? There are no winners in this. This is a very bad situation. So what I'd like to ask you to consider is, how did we get here? How did we get here? And what I'd really like for the parish to do is to sit back and look at the zoning regulations themselves. We've got some very, very smart people in parish government, planning and zoning board, councilmen, you all work very hard. We got some developers that would love to put money into this parish. But it's that lack of transparency on both sides that can cause issues like this and take considerable time away from the council, the administration, planning and zoning, that should be spent elsewhere. This is a vibrant, growing parish. I've been here 35 years, and I'm proud to be a resident of Ascension Parish. The real problem here tonight, in my opinion, is not this one particular issue, but the zoning ordinances themselves. How do we clarify those ordinances and give more transparency instead of saying mixed use could be this, could be that? Do we need to put more subtitles under those regulations to express precisely what it means? Then we wouldn't be having meetings like this. You wouldn't be having the friction like this. The people in the areas where we're proposing these zoning changes from residential to whatever, they need to be involved in the process more effectively than they have been, okay? And their voices need to be heard early on, working with the developer, not causing friction, not causing wounds that are going to be slow to heal. The last thing we need is government gridlock. We have that already on the federal level. The Tea Party's been formed. People are against this, against that. Everybody's against something. Why can't we be all for something? So I propose tonight, in a conciliatory tone, that we work together to fix the basic problem, in my view, the ordinances. Now, some may say the ordinances are the best you can write, they're the best that you can have. Well, if that's the case, why are we here? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Badon. Mr. Billy Aguilar. Mr. Randall Donier.
Thank you, Councilman. I've got a few things to address, so I'll just dive right into it. Yes, the Zoning Commission did vote for denial on this issue, but that vote was a 5-4 vote. That's like overtime. And immediately after the vote, one of the commissioners came to me and said that he would change his vote, as a matter of fact, if we could get around the one issue of making sure that we had a legal way to not use any of the residential streets. Therefore, we did. We've come up with two different solutions. One is very simple. It's a deed restriction. As you can tell, unlike Mr. McCarley's map, the map that I gave you, the entire 36 acres is not up for rezoning. We took 7.5 acres as a buffer zone around, which will stay residential no matter what. None of the residential streets touch the area that's going to be rezoned. The other one, other than the deed restriction, is we've already had our lawyer draw up a negative predial servitude agreement that is naming all 4 of those streets, and we do have a letter of intent from one of the adjacent business owners to give us access from Airline. The 4 lots that they do touch are not part of Perkins Oaks 1. Those lots are not part of the neighborhood, and therefore they're not under any covenants or anything like that. On that November 3rd meeting, the residents said they would support it if we were to rezone as a SPUD. We actually came back and agreed to that. I talked to the parish attorney and decided we could sign an affidavit agreeing to rezone to a SPUD from the mixed use, allowing us to start our dirt work on our time frame. The neighbors then came back and said they're not going to support the SPUD either. They're not going to support no matter what it's going to be. It's not and has never been our intent to ever use this property as anything but a tennis club. Never has been, and it never will be. If there's any way that we could build this club on the zoning that it is, residential medium, making the neighbors happy that the zoning will stay the same, and that's how it is at Pelican Point. They're zoned residential medium because they were done, back before the zoning. If there's any way to do that, if y'all could figure out a way to do that, we'll drop this right away. That's fine. All we want to do is build the tennis club. The zoning request is, as I said, because we do want to have a point of sale, and we do want to have a bar and grill. They're for our members. It's a membership-driven club, and as such, since we actually make our money on the memberships, not the alcohol sales, we're going to increase
Thank
the
you, sir.
property values.
Mr. Ricky Compton, please. Before I get to Ricky Compton, has everyone that wanted to speak tonight been able to speak? That's all the cards I have. Okay, Mr. Ricky Compton, please.
Zoning review ID 2173.11, tract A1A for Rainrod Incorporated, located on the north end of Perkins Oaks Road, approximately 2,500 feet north of LA Highway 427 Perkins Road, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium-intensity residential to mixed use. Zoning Commission recommends denial of this amendment. To accept or deny.
Councilors, for accept or deny, may I have a motion? Councilman Shakespeare.
Yes, I think as the conditions that we had asked the developer to put forward to make this palatable was not near about reach. So therefore, I would like to offer a motion from the Zoning Commission to recommend to accept the Zoning Commission's request, a recommendation to deny this development.
Got a motion by Councilman Shakespeare, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. In discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Next, we have an introduction of ordinance. Legal counsel Tony Folkman, please.
This is to amend the Ascension Parish subdivision regulation, section 17-405D2, to define certain sign requirements for developments.
I'll need a motion, please. Motion by Councilman Benny Johnson. Second by Councilman Randy Cluart. Any objections? Ordinance is introduced. Ms. Tony, reading of ordinance, item 14, please.
This is to acquire a parcel of immovable property for Ascension Parish government for the price of $147,000 for the purpose of fire protection. Be it ordained, the Ascension Parish Governing Authority authorizes the purchase of a parcel of property situated in the parish of Ascension, more fully described as 18348 Bluff Road, Prairieville, Louisiana 70769. A detailed description is attached as Exhibit A. This ordinance is being adopted in conformity with Section 6-01 of the Ascension Parish Charter. The purchase of the property is subject to approval by the parish attorney and contingent upon the seller being able to deliver a merchantable title. Parish president is authorized to sign all necessary documents on behalf of the parish.
Need a
Motion to open public hearing.
a motion to open by Councilman Randy Cluart, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please come forward. You'll be allowed 3 minutes.
Motion to close.
Got a motion to close by Councilman Benny Johnson, second by Councilman Randy Cluard. I need a motion to move the ordinance, please.
Motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Randy Cluard, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is adopted. 17, please. Oh. Yes, 17, please, ma'am.
This is to amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, Section 17-1, et sec, to restructure the Ascension Parish Planning and Zoning Commission to reduce the membership from 9 to 5 and to set the terms thereof. Whereas the Parish of Ascension has a Planning and Zoning Commission created pursuant to state law in the Ascension Parish Charter, and whereas the Parish Council wishes to reduce the membership of the commission from 9 to 5, now therefore be it ordained that Section 17-1 of the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances is amended to read as follows. The Planning and Zoning Commission shall consist of 5 members to be appointed by the Ascension Parish Council. Terms of the members shall be as follows. 3 members shall serve an initial 2-year term, and 2 members shall serve an initial term of 4 years. Thereafter, each member shall serve a 4-year term. The current member's term shall expire immediately upon the appointment of the new membership. The ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law.
I need a motion, open public motion by Councilman Benny Johnson. Second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Anyone wish to speak on this agenda item, come forward. You'll be allowed 3 minutes. Now, I've got a list of speakers already. I'll start calling you up. First, I have Miss Tiffany Poche.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Tiffany Poche. I want to first of all thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to speak on this matter. It is my opinion that it would be irresponsible to reduce the number of people who are advised whether to approve or deny development and future growth. I do, however, realize that people prefer to hear facts than opinions. So, facts. So in 1997, under our current parish president, the Planning and Zoning Commission was increased from 7 members to 9 members. According to the census in 2000, the parish population was 76,627. In 2010, the population was 107,215. That is a 39.9% increase in population. How was it appropriate in 97 to increase the number, and now it is appropriate not to at least keep the current number with the rapid growth our parish has seen? Please look at the facts and do not reduce the number of planning and zoning commissioners. Thank you guys so much.
Mr. Wayne Floyd. Mr. Wayne Floyd. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to y'all again. It's been a while. My little brother passed away and kind of had to take care of a lot of business. But I've kind of worked out looking at a few things here. We have 9 people at the present committee, as it is. All right, 5 people can decide which way this parish is going to be developed. If you reduce this to 5, 3 people can decide what's going to happen to our children and our grandchildren in this parish. What will they have to live with? Do we understand? I say this, it's much easier to control 3 people than it is 5 people. And I think this is more what this may be about than anything else. Controlling this parish under the thumb, just like Washington today, is controlling the voters, even though a wide percentage of the people do not like what's going on in Washington. We'll have an opportunity to change that in November, but in the meantime, we've got a problem in Washington. Well, I'm bringing it back to Ascension Parish. Why would we move so fast to try and do this in such a quick way as to put it on the agenda tonight? Why not wait give the new council members that are coming on board and everybody else up here an opportunity to really discuss what's going to happen to our parish of, right now, probably 120,000, maybe 120,000, 100,000 people. That's what we got to look at. And I want y'all to look at that flag right there, that flag. That flag is a symbol of our country. Right now, Washington is skirting the law in so many ways. In other words, it's hurting our country. It's hurting our people. I think if you take this and move it down from 9 to 5, you're going to hurt Ascension Parish. We had this problem in the 70s. Many of you weren't here. Many of you were. We were controlled by a minority in this parish that created a tremendous amount of stress. Fortunately for us, our parish grew on this side so that we could move forward in this parish instead of being closed in by a group of people that only wanted to control from one situation in the parish what everybody else did, even though we were the majority, because we had a system set up at that time with the police bureau. It was set up at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Thank you, sir.
Okay, please do not change this. Give the people time to read, go through with it.
Mr. Shelby
Thank you
Ballard.
very much.
Shelby Ballard.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I come to speak against this idea of changing the number of commissioners. I think that with the number of people we have in this parish, it is impertinent that we maintain a wide voice to represent all of the people. I've been on both ends, receiving and not receiving from the commission itself, and I appreciate the many voices that we have that can sit and discuss and come to a conclusion of what they do, and I've admired the commission for quite a few years now, and I think they've done a very good job. So let's keep the voices we have and leave the board the way it is. Thank you.
Ms. Samantha Thibodeau.
Good evening, gentlemen. Everyone should be concerned about public officials who change the rules for personal gain. We see enough of this in Washington, D.C. Do we have to put up with it here? This is not about left or right or middle. This is about right versus wrong. I have to believe, that there is still goodness in men. I have to believe that common decency and good sense will prevail. I have to believe that men put community over personal profit. If I don't believe these things, I should just throw my hands up, give up, and stop caring. But I can't. Because I do believe that there is still a chance, although a small one, that you men will make the right choice. I've never been a conspiracy theorist, but I've come to an understanding of how they reach some of their conclusions. You don't understand, gentlemen, what this decision resembles. Listen closely to this definition. Where the state recognizes no limits in its authority and strives to regulate every aspect of public and private life wherever feasible. Do you know what this is? It's fascism. I'm sure you think this only exists in governments far away in other countries, or that it happened many, many years ago and does not exist now. No, it is right here, right now in Ascension Parish. This is the type of action that we as citizens of Ascension should expect from the parish president and council for the next 4 years. This is but one step toward total submission of the citizenry to its government. The issues of Rain Rod are in direct correlation to the decision that is going to be made tonight. If you think the Rainrod decision is a mess, wait until you reduce the representation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you.
Tim Terrio.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, council members. I come before you tonight asking you to uphold the current minimum of 9 Planning and Zoning Commission members. I'm opposed to reducing this down to 5. Just like the gentleman stated earlier, all we got to get is 3. One side just needs 3 votes and it can control everything. We've got a lot of people representing every one of y'all's districts. I'd like to see our parish president consider taking it up to the same thing that y'all have. Get a representative from each district. You see the amount of people who spoke on the issue earlier today? You're going to have people packed in here every month. I've attended the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. I've attended their subcommittee meetings. Those guys have done a great job. Needless to say, not like y'all, they don't get paid. It's not like the parish is saving a nickel, bringing it down to 5 members. These guys don't get a nickel for what they do. They spend their own gas money riding and visiting the sites to make a decision. I don't understand this decision that's wanting to be made. Maybe it can be explained a little bit better, and it may be somehow to make sense, but right now it doesn't. So I'm urging y'all to turn down this proposal and keep with a minimum of 9 commission members. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Dane Thibodeau. Dane Thibodeau.
Hello, I'm Dane Thibodeau. I'm 18 years old, and I've been a resident of Ascension Parish for the past 13 years. I recently gained the eligibility to vote. In fact, I voted for the first time in November. I'm here to represent the future of Ascension Parish. And as a representative of that future, I'm here to tell you that what you're proposing to do is wrong. I understand that in America we live in a representative republic, and in that republic, citizens should be allowed to be afforded more opportunities for representation than less. Then why approve an ordinance for that to lessen the voice of the citizens of Ascension Parish? Why not form a planning subcommittee and a zoning committee? This would allow more representation by adding 10 new voices. If there is a planning committee along with the zoning commission, how will they know what each other is doing? Don't a lot of the issues impact both areas? And will citizens now have to participate in an additional step in the process? And are you going to set up separate times for these commissions to meet, have to cover the meetings, electricity, and supplies? Will you pay for the cost for the extra supplies, or will this cost be put onto taxpayers? And if so, how much? I hope you understand that the approval of this ordinance will cause the process that is already long and arduous enough. It will become longer and more difficult, and a possible additional cost to all taxpayers, including myself. Thank you.
Mr. Scott Sayer, please.
Good evening again. Council members, parish residents, the idea of changing the Planning and Zoning Commission from 9 to 5 members is a poor choice. The thought of reducing the members to 5 shows the citizens of Ascension Parish that our council is moving to have direct control of planning and zoning in our parish. Fewer members that you select tell us you only need to influence 3 members for a change in zoning and planning. In a parish this large, and in growing at a fast pace, should not have fewer members, but in fact have more. I submit to the council that a change is needed. Not 9 members, but 11 members on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Only then can we, the citizens and voters of Ascension Parish, be certain true representation takes place, and no developers can apply pressure to the council for their benefit only. At this point, you work for them and not the citizens of Ascension. The many people of Ascension Parish, some are present here tonight, lifelong residents of this parish, and others are not, but all have one thing in common: we care and we vote. These very same people are your friends and your neighbors. Each of you ran for office, knocked on your neighbors' doors, and asked them to vote and support you in your bid for a seat on the council to serve and represent the citizens of Ascension Parish. Your work to serve the people of Ascension is hard and difficult at times and is greatly appreciated. But we want representation and not someone who wishes to rule over us. It's harder to serve us, but it's easier to rule us like we are children. And in your belief, you know what's best for the parish. These very same people are not children and do know what's best for the parish. No reduction in representation on the Planning and Zoning Commission. We need more. Council members, look at where you are. You're sitting in my chair. These folks behind me, you're sitting in their chair. It's high time to place the wishes of the people ahead of your own. It simply is what we want. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman, at this time, for a short period, I will relinquish the chair to Vice Chair Randy Cluart.
Thank you. The next speaker we have Mr. Joe Opperman.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak before y'all on this issue. I just drove back 3.5 hours from Vicksburg, Mississippi from my deer hunting trip. I had another day of vacation scheduled, but I felt this was more important. I really feel that this is just hard to believe that we're going to cut this group down from 9 to 5, and then somebody's got a reason for it, but there hadn't been any kind of explanation given out that makes the public feel like there's a good reason. So I think this is an issue that the people here have spoken on, and the people will speak for a long time on. If y'all make this decision this fast without giving the people of this parish the opportunity to find out what's going on and why it's being done. We need to have a parish where the people can trust the council and feel like we've got someone that's going to back us when we vote you in. So I really do want y'all to stick with the way it is now, or give us some real good reasons why you think it needs to be changed. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Next, Carla Bosco.
Good evening. My name is Paul Guppel.
Sir, I
sir.
call for Ms. Carla Bosco.
Okay, my bad.
Thank you.
My name is Carla Bakken. Thank you for
Thank
letting
you,
me
ma'am.
speak. Removing all 9 commissioners is a bad idea. I was personally involved in the master plan process and the seating of 3 new planning and zoning commissioners last year. The council is indecisive. By passing this ordinance, you will discourage any honest citizen from putting in an application to serve on the board when people realize that they can quickly be removed if they don't make decisions that please you. Do not pass or amend this ordinance. Defeat it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Doc Sadley.
Thank you, Mr. Cluott. Councilman. Councilman Cullen has accused the Planning and Zoning Commissioners, my colleagues, and myself of thinking that we are elected officials, quote unquote.
Doc, would you please stick to the subject, please, sir?
The facts show, however, that the commissioners are actually acting the way elected officials who appointed them should be acting. During the last 12 months, the council has given rubber stamp approval to nearly 100% of family petition, servitude revocation, zoning, and ordinance recommendations made by the commissions, including the Merry Christmas present tonight for Rain Rod and I thank each and every one of you, my constituents in District 4. Interestingly and worthy of note, the only areas that have caused this council any hesitation whatsoever have been 3 commission proposals. 1, a request for minuscule funding of the government, business, and citizens master plan subcommittees. 2, the repeal of the PUD, SPUD, and TND ordinances. 3, a decision on the recommendation to deny the Rain Rod project. While controversial, after soliciting and receiving an overwhelming amount of citizen input, as the commissioners are required by state law to do, these 3 items were effectively, and in no way as printed in the newspaper inefficiently, dealt with in a timely manner by the commissions on April 4th, April 13, and July 13, respectively. That makes the council, not the commissions, thus far delinquent in acting by 8, 8, and 5 months, respectively. Gentlemen, who's to bless and who's to blame here? The truth is this. The council has shirked its responsibilities to act by ducking these issues during an election year in order to save their hides, or at least some of them, against proper parliamentary procedures. And I warned you as a public citizen at one of your meetings, the master plan issue was tabled and sent nowhere, while the PUD issue was tabled and sent to the council's strategic planning committee, which is becoming a black hole. The Rain Rod issue has been placed twice on the council agenda for review only, but without action required. In trying to justify reduction in commission membership, outgoing councilman, Mr. Clot, I don't mean you, but I'm changing the name to respect you, has also said, quote, "It is difficult to get enough qualified volunteers to fill all 9 positions." The councilman who said that, I say to you, poppycock. The last time 3 commission seats became vacant, there were 12 applicants. I know this because I was one of the applicants who was seated. Furthermore, one has to wonder just how much homework this councilman did with our parish president, is that allowable, Mr. Clerk? Who publicly stated, quote, "I would like to see a 5-member planning commission and a 5-member zoning commission, which would, quote, actually add 1 more person to the board." Even if one accepts such horribly flawed logic, the president's plan, according to the other councilman's own misguided beliefs, would force the new council to identify 10 instead of 9 commissioners. Gentlemen, step up to the plate, serve your constituents, and stop the madness.
Doc.
Do not alter the planning and zoning commissioner. Thank you.
Benny Besson. Benny Besson.
Good evening, Council. I don't have a whole lot to say. I agree with pretty much what everybody here has already had said. I'll be short and sweet, but I view a reduction in the Planning and Zoning Commission as a movement towards consolidation of power. Thank you.
Bert DuPlessis Sr. I'm sorry, Bert. Yeah. I didn't look up. I was trying to read.
That's all right. Thank you,
brother.
Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be brief. I would like to see the number I would like to see the number changed to 11. I think that in order to get good representation, I've talked to Councilman Thompson about this before, I'd like to see a member from each district put on the planning commission. That way we would get, that way all districts would be represented. And you would have 11 commissioners. And that's what I would like to see. That way we would have, equal representation throughout. And I appreciate y'all time and thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. Charlie Stevens.
I'm Charlie Stevens, and I'm hoping that my comments be received in the spirit in which they are given. I believe in the common sense approach to problem solving. There is no substitution. When I think about changing the Planning and Zoning Commission from a 9-member commission to a 5-member commission, I have some questions that are penetrating my mind, like why? What is the rationale? What is the justification? What is the purpose for the urgency? You know, he'd give you the impression that somebody has up his sleeve more than his own. Heretofore, during an election year, we have never made a change, according to my memory, of this nature. The thinking has been, let's wait until the new members come on, participate in the decision-making by virtue they have to live by the ruling or the decision for 4 years. You know, I think it's bad when people go into the poll and vote and come out and say, I voted, but I don't trust my government. I think it's bad when you speak to people that used to vote, that are no longer voting, and they say, I don't vote anymore because I don't trust my government. Now, I see this as a serious disease that need to be treated. And we cannot treat the disease with deceit, trickery, indecisiveness, but it can be treated with a display of integrity, honesty, justice, fairness, a level playing field with accountability. Now, the people you see here tonight, they're not going away. People want to be actively engaged in their government because they realize and understand the importance of taking part in our government. I think it is time now that we start concentrating and thinking on how can we close the credibility gap. How can we work closer with our voters and our taxpayers? I believe if we can close that gap, this government can continue to advance and improve the situation. And I'm asking the council members.
Time, Mr. Chairman.
I'm asking the council
Time, sir.
members.
Wrap it up, Charles.
Last,
please.
I'm bringing it to a close. I'm asking the council members.
Time.
The timing is always right to do what is right, and I'm asking that you demonstrate it.
Thank you, sir. Lou Goppo.
Gentlemen, is this an obvious move to gain rubber stamp control over the Ascension Parish Planning and Zoning Commission by having Tommy Martinez and this outgoing lame duck council propose an ordinance vote tonight?
Sir, please reframe your remarks to the subject at hand. Please, do that for me.
The proposed ordinance will do two things. It will remove, with one vote, all the current 9 members of the council duly appointed by the council. In its place, a 5-member commission will be established. Appointed by whom? Is this an attempt to stack the deck of members who will be favorable to the administration's urbanization plan for the parish? Last year's proposed comprehensive master plan that attempted to pave the way for federally funded high-density housing was overwhelmingly opposed by 90 to 95% of the citizens, attending the 11 local town hall meetings, 1 meeting in every council district. It appears that this is heavy-handed fashion of the parish president and his council coalition, which will lose 3 members next month, feeling the urgency to squelch all opposition from the 9-member commission before 2012, when the new council was seated. This trickery is reminiscent of the method FDR considered using in 1937 to push his New Deal legislation past the U.S. Supreme Court. President Martinez's proposal to flat-out remove all 9 members of the Planning and Zoning Commission all at once is even more brazen than President Roosevelt's court-packing scheme. Thank you.
Thank you. James Bollinger.
Good evening again. I'm a certified public accountant. I apologize for that. I often say that a CPA is a constant pain in the ass, you know. But the thing is there's a principle of accounting, and that is you don't make very small groups of people responsible for very important things. You separate duties, and you make a number of people responsible for them so that it becomes more difficult to collude, which I think is the American way, by the way, especially if you read the history of all successful businessmen. The other thing is I've been able to look at multi-membered organizations and boards of directors, and I've seen my share of boards that were dominated by one or two people. I'm not suggesting that's the case here, but I am suggesting that the bigger and the more obvious diversity of recommendation we have makes the likelihood of collusion and dominance less likely. So please defeat this proposal.
Thank you. Paul Goppel.
Good evening, Councilman. My name is Paul Guppel. In response to Lambert Perilou, President Martinez has publicly stated, quote, "I would like to see a 5-member planning commission and a 5-member zoning commission. I feel this gives the citizens more representation by not having the same people make decisions on planning and zoning." Gentlemen, this is flawed logic. This is not how the ordinance reads. Reducing the number of planning and zoning commissioners from 9 to 5, which is what the ordinance proposes, will reduce, not increase, the people's representation in the process. The President's argument is illogical, backwards, and taking us in the wrong direction. Ascension Parish grew 40% over the past 10 years. Consider the Electoral College. States with the most population have more votes to cast for the president. For example, California, New York, and Texas have more votes than states like Wyoming, Montana, and Louisiana, simply because votes are based on the number of people who live within these states' boundaries. Consider the U.S. House of Representatives as well. It is made up of 435 representatives whom we elect according to each state's population. When the government takes the census every 10 years, the seats in the House of Representatives change in direct proportion to the changes in population up or down. For instance, Louisiana currently has 7 seats in the House. Because we've lost population over the past 10 years, we will have only 6 seats in the House in the elections coming up in 2012. How can you justify decreased representation in view of our explosive growth? Councilman, keep the commission as it is, but by no means decrease the number of commissioners. The commission is an advisory board. This council makes the appointments. Removing all 9 members at the same time is a political decision. It is illogical, impractical, and makes no common sense. This council is the body we the people have chosen to represent us, not your own political interests. While this rush to judgment will serve you and your political interests, it will not serve the people you represent. Thank you very much.
Captain Goppel.
Thank you. This ordinance is related to past events, of which I will mention 3 that will help us to understand what is happening today.
Mr. Chairman, I can't hear her. I see her lips moving, but I can't hear anything. Can you speak up?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. What? I didn't take y'all's Christmas present or nothing.
Will you
Carry on,
stop,
Miss-
Mike? Give me a little bit more time.
Please proceed.
I
Please
couldn't
proceed,
hear
Ms.
her.
Goppel. Please.
Okay.
Carry on.
Okay. Last November and December, this council appointed 3 new commissioners to the Planning and Zoning Commission to replace members whose terms expired in October. Outgoing members supported the proposed master plan that the people rejected, but the administration supported and pushed. These 3 new appointments changed the balance of power on the commission. When politicians lose their ability to control, they become frustrated. How was it possible these politically appointed positions no longer bowed to the powers that be? Secondly, on October 13th of this year, these same commissioners, in a 7-to-1 vote, called for an investigation of the Martinez administration, the planning department, and at least one commissioner. Emails obtained through public records requests suggested unethical and possible criminal behavior. The media made no mention of this action and remained silent, virtually covering up the investigation, which is ongoing. Could the audacity of these appointed commissioners to question the higher powers be the source of revenge to remove all 9 with one fell swoop? Thirdly, fall elections have replaced 4 councilmen who will take office in January 2012. This will change the balance of power on the council. With fewer sure votes, the parish president must quickly move to secure what power he believes is necessary to move forward with his agenda. 6 votes are needed, and President Martinez has 6. But should only one councilman decide on any issue to side with his constituents, the parish president will not prevail and his agenda will fail. Could this be the reason for a sense of urgency to move at breakneck speed to remove every commissioner this second meeting in December that is usually canceled for the holidays? Today in Ascension Parish, in 2011, we are experiencing what Noah Webster wrote about in 1832. Quote, "If the citizens neglect their duty and place unprincipled men in office, the government will soon become corrupted. Laws will be made not for the public good so much as for the selfish or local purposes. Corrupt or incompetent men will be appointed to execute the laws, and the rights of citizens will be violated or disregarded. Please reject this ordinance. Keep the commission as is." Thank you.
Daniel Gopic. Daniel Goppel?
Good evening, Councilman, and thank you for the opportunity. I feel compelled to speak on this issue. Over the past years, as I have seen people get up and speak to their elected officials on issues that concern them and their neighborhood, I felt compelled to do the same. This is the first time I have spoken at one of these meetings. And frankly, I think that the Planning and Zoning Commission is doing a better job of listening to the people than the Parish Council. The issue previously discussed was opposed by the Zoning Commission and thankfully was voted down by the Council. We are asking you simply to listen to the people and their concerns about getting the representation that they deserve. Why the rush to reduce the number of commissioners from 9 to 5? This was not discussed at all or even mentioned in the previous few months leading up to the election. Why now? Why cut the representation that the people have on the zoning of their property literally in half? Tell us. We are asking you to listen to us. And if you will not listen to us, you can at least give us some type of answer. And we ask you to answer by leaving the commission as it is. Leave it at 9. Let us keep the representation that we deserve. Thank you.
Al Robert.
Thanks for allowing me to speak. Merry Christmas to everyone. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about the things that matter. Martin Luther King. You're making our voice silent by reducing the number of commissioners. Please think about what you're doing. There's no reason whatsoever, none that I could even fathom to think of, like Mr. Stevens said. Keep the commission the way it is. Thank you very much.
Shelby Ballard. Shelby Ballard.
I've spoken already.
I apologize, sir. Might have got mixed up. Thank you. Lynn Whitmer. Lynn Whitmer.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Whitmer, and I live in Council District 6. Randy Kluat's my councilman. The proposal to reduce the Planning and Zoning Commission from 9 to 5 has never been explained or justified because there is no justification. This is a hasty and poorly planned attempt to secure power over the planning process in order to rubber stamp the wishes of the administration before the new council is seated. Just because this outgoing council can change the ordinance does not mean you should. Think about it. Fewer people with the same or greater workload? Is this your definition of efficiency? Fewer people to make better decisions? What happened to the truth that there is wisdom in the group? Fewer people are better qualified? How logical is that? This is not common sense, it's nonsense. The commission sent their recommendation to you. It is this council that has delayed by sending items to subcommittees. Who's inefficient? This council has been indecisive by failing to act for over 5 months on the Rain Rod project. Who needs better decision-making? Changing the commission will not produce any benefit other than securing more power for a few people. You were elected to represent the people, not to rule over us as tritons. When the righteous rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. There's no in-between. You either do what is right or you become corrupt. You are making decisions that will greatly affect people's lives and properties. Choose wisely. Keep the commission as it is. They have done their job. Now do yours. And I've been a resident of Ascension Parish for a long time. And so I'd like to see it.
Charlotte Johnson.
Well, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Councilman. I'm just going to cut to the chase because it's all been said and said very well, I might say, to the citizens. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. To bring this forward now, before the end of the year, before the new council is seated, to make the decision on a recommendation by administration to reduce the representation from the planning and zoning. I can tell you from firsthand with an applicant for the planning and zoning, my husband was an applicant, I can tell you the first question, it wasn't about his skill sets or his qualifications, as he had environmental skill sets, that's what he works in that field as a consultant, he also has utility skill sets. Well, you know what? The first question that was asked of him, how do you feel about the new master plan? Bottom line is, that's what it feels like. It feels like a turtle and the snake scenario, and the citizens are the turtle. And this isn't a plot for an administration to say, I want my way. So the people are speaking. We don't want the voice reduced. We don't want the planning and zoning reduced. That's more control, and that's not good for the people. So I hope that you're listening, because the people have spoken. I haven't heard anyone say anything to the contrary. Thank you.
Lisa Lusko.
Hi again. Public speaking is part of the process here, guys, and several residents have come up and misspoke or spoke about a subject that wasn't supposed to be on the agenda or mentioned someone's name, and they were treated and reprimanded by the council. I think that a public apology needs to be made to a former speaker, because how do you encourage participation in a parish when someone gets up to speak and such a derogatory attitude is placed to them? That was uncalled for. Anyway, First of all, I'd like to thank our planning and zoning commissioners for their past performance and their due diligence and their spirit of volunteerism. In dealing with the rain rod issue, several councilmen, our parish president, have made negative remarks about the qualifications, the education level of some of our planning and zoning members. I heard it with my own 2 ears. They volunteer. They are us. The planning and zoning commissioners are us. We're all one community. Some of you have less formal education or training in this field than they do. And so that holier-than-thou attitude and power struggle needs to stop so that you can better serve our community. You know, I like to be heard. I like to be right. I like people to agree with me. Therefore, I could never serve in a public capacity. I know myself. Reducing the commissioners to appoint people who agree with you or your train of thought or a certain administration has no place in our government or serving our continually growing and diverse community. The new council will have to live by this decision. Let them vote on it. We recently elected change. Let them take this issue on. Thank you very much.
Mr. Clint Quinmo.
Good evening, gentlemen. I wrote a few notes here. My first opening statement was, what was the rush? Of course, that's obviously a common theme tonight. Is it political revenge? Have we resulted to that in Ascension Parish politics? Is that what it's about? I would hope not. I would hope that our political officials have more integrity and character than that. So for a moment, we're going to say, no, that's not the case. But then if it isn't, what is the logical reason for it? That is the greater question. There must be a logical reason. I'm sure the Ascension Parish citizens, as well as me, want to know, why go from 9 members to 5? Are we representing all of our districts? Are we getting the representation that we deserve? I've worked for months upon months with subcommittee meetings with these members. What about all that hard work? You just decide to start from scratch. All those meetings were items to bring before the council, bring before y'all to vote on. Where does all that hard work go? What about a quorum for future meetings? You don't have to look far to see that the Board of Adjustments is already struggling with this issue. They have 7 members. Does it make sense to have less members on a planning commission that holds and is responsible for a substantial amount of planning and zoning issues? Unfortunately, I believe this vote has already been cast. I believe this vote has already been decided before this meeting started. Because of that, I want to thank the current Planning Commission members in a public forum for their representation of Ascension Parish citizens, for their hard and dedicated work to a free job, and for just being there for us. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Rob McCauley. Rob McCauley. Yes, sir.
My name is Robin McCarley. Thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know everybody has better things to be talking about than this. So I would like to draw an analogy here. There's a situation that's just north of this area. It's in Flowood, Mississippi. 10 years ago, if you drove north of Jackson, Mississippi, you would have seen cow pastures, a few homes, Mississippi Highway 25, 2-lane, snaky, very dangerous road to drive on. I drive it often to go see my family in northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. The city of Flowood, in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce of Flowood, got together and they said, we're going to have a major growth in this city, in this and in this particular area. There's going to be an outgrowth from Jackson. There's going to be an ingrowth from the areas, from the nearby areas, just like we're seeing here along I-10, I-12 corridor, whenever we're going to have 35% of the population in Louisiana along I-10 and I-12. And what they did was they sat down together, and they came up with a Planning and Zoning Commission that worked hand in hand with the council and the Chamber of Commerce in a very productive way. When you drive on Mississippi Highway 25 now, it's 6 lanes. It has left and right turn lanes. It has no housing that you can see from the road. All of the businesses are built low on the profile. Signed ordinances are in place. It doesn't look like Veterans Boulevard down in New Orleans, okay? It's a phenomenally great thing that happened in a very, very rapidly growing area of our country. It is absolutely spectacular. And I think that we could do something like that here if we have enough public input through a large government body of individuals who have been educated in this area and are experts in this area. So that's my 2 cents worth. I appreciate your time this evening, and I think we need to look at the positives, and we need to think about the negatives of reducing the number of people that are on a commission that so much has a lot to do with our future here in this parish. Thank you for your time.
Bobby Cabazon. Bobby Cabazon.
For allowing me to come before you again. I bring along with me my nerves again, so if you'll tolerate those. And I'll tell you that I've been sitting over there listening to everyone speaking, and some of you have just moved me incredibly, you sir in particular. And it's caused me to rethink the things that I was going to say, what I've written on this paper that you've heard from many people over and over. It's very similar. It talks about we the people, that it requires a group of people to make good decisions for the whole, hence the we in the preamble, we of the council, we of the commission, we of the subdivision, we of the parish. We is a very important word, and that was the main message that I wanted to bring to you. But instead of reading from this sheet, what I'd like to tell you is that I'm also bringing, again, 8 pages of petitions, signatures, from our subdivisions, Perkins Oaks and Belgrove, of people who have said, we do not want the Planning and Zoning Commission number reduced. And I'd like to share with you what a few of those people said to me as we went door to door. Many of my neighbors could not thank us enough. There were 6 of us in our 3 streets that went to every door in our neighborhood and said, we just want to make sure that you have accurate information so that you can decide what you want. And then you can tell us if you agree with us. We appreciate that. If you do not agree with us, we respect that. My neighbors were overwhelmed with gratitude. They appreciated being informed. The sad part of the story that I'd also like to share with you is that I met a number of my neighbors who said, this is great, but why are you bothering? They're not going to pay attention to my signature. They're not going to listen to what I think. I'm only one person, and I don't think that that viewpoint is necessarily a accusation towards anyone on this council or anyone particular. I think it's just the sad state of the general viewpoint of a lot of people in this country that we don't count, that what we think doesn't count, so we might as well not bother to say so. So I stand before you today with 8 pages of signatures from my neighbors who say, we do not think this makes sense. We do not think it is good for the people, and we do not want you to vote for it. And I ask you to please enter this into the public record as the number of people on these pages are represented as we. We are neighbors, we are councilmen, we're all residents of the same place. We all want the same things.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Doug Badon. Doug Badon.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of comments. I believe that reducing the size from 9 to 5 reduces the representation of the people in the parish. I believe we should stay at 9, and if possible, add more. Unlike some here tonight, I'm not a subscriber of conspiracy theories or anything like that. I know in the past there have been some tough times, planning and zoning meetings. I've seen them. There's been some turmoil, some distrust. Again, let's go back to those basic definitions that they have to work with, the tools that they have. Let's don't add more regulations. Let's take the ones we have and define them better, clearer, more transparent, so that the developer, when he makes a decision, has the right information, the planning and zoning has the right information, and everybody's on the same page moving forward. I think the Planning and Zoning Commission has done a good job considering the circumstances that they've had to work with. At this time, I'd like to personally thank each and every one of them for their hard work, their volunteer efforts. I also fear that if we reduce the size, the level of suspicion and distrust goes up. And again, we don't need that. We don't need that in this parish. We need everybody working in the same direction. Thank you very much.
Ariel Cabazon? Mr. Cabazon?
Thank you for letting me speak again. I had an introduction, but I think what everybody has said already is enough, so I'll get to the meat of it. This ordinance to reduce the Planning and Zoning Commission from 9 members to 5 members appears to work towards the demise of the community. If the parish president and the council believe that 5 members is better than 9 because it provides for a more efficient process, then my question would be, why don't we reduce the number of council members so that the government process is more efficient? Everyone should consider that efficiency is not necessarily gained through the reduction of people involved in a process. Efficiency is best gained through the improvements of a process, especially when everyone is working together towards a common goal. I implore that you reconsider this ordinance and ask that you maintain the 9-member Planning and Zoning Commission for many years to come. Your action tonight will show your constituents that you believe in a system whose number of members has been set so that there will be more knowledgeable eyes and minds focused on a proposal to help protect their quality of life and the value of their homes. Thank you for your consideration, and I hope that your decision will benefit the people that you so humbly represent. Thank you very much.
Mr. Billy Aguilar? Billy Aguilar.
Thank you, Chairman Bill, Councilman. You, Councilman, won't be here next year. I'd like to thank you for your last 4 years of service, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Cullen. Mr. George isn't here tonight. If I forgot somebody else, thank you all for your service. We appreciate you. I would ask you to approve this ordinance. Number one is, let's not forget one thing, and it's very simple. That unprincipled man, our parish president, was elected by a 72% margin of the people. I think that's a strong mandate that what he's done has been right. I believe he will continue to do the right thing. I think we should stand by. If he wants to reorganize this planning commission, I think we should do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Paul Carey Aguilar? Paul Carey Aguilar? Mr. Julio Dumas? Julio Dumas.
Good evening, Merry Christmas, and I'd like to also thank all of you for the great service that you provide, and for those of you who won't be here starting next month, thank you very, very much for all your hard work. For the new councilmen that are going to take your seats, I hope they come with an open mind and with a vision for the parish that drives it to the future, as you have. You've done an excellent job over the past 4 years. With respect to the proposed ordinance, fact is that as a member of the commission, I'm here to tell you that we have fallen apart. We have been ineffective, we've been combative, and I commend you for taking this bull by the horn and having the courage to look at us and do something to correct it. So I hope that you do pass this ordinance and that you move forward with this and let the new council appoint the new members to the commission. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
That's all the cards I have. Is there anyone else that did not fill a card out? Fill a card out, please, so you'll be allowed 3 minutes. Stick to the agenda, please. No, sir, right now. Yes, sir.
I just had a quick comment. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for your service. I'm
What's
a
your name,
pastor.
sir?
I'm not a politician, but I've dedicated my life to the Scriptures. That's the highest wisdom you can find. And it says in the book of Proverbs, there is victory in abundance of counselors. This would be a step in the wrong direction.
Okay. I'll need a motion to, who are you,
The
sir?
card out. I'm Philip Guppold. I already filled a card out.
Philip, I thought I'd caught you.
Yeah, it may be with the clapping. So. Can I use this projector?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Philip.
Okay. Put some on this projector here. I have some show and tell for you tonight. Can you see it? The Bible says that where there's no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. And we can learn from the example of other parishes. So I put up here a chart that shows you what some of our other parishes are doing. And as you can see, if we reduce the number of members to 5, we'll have the dubious distinction of having the lowest number of members in our Planning and Zoning Commission. Additionally, even if you believe that, we should go with President Martinez, well, he's recommended...
Sir, it's not about President Martinez. Stick to the agenda, all right? Okay?
President, the point is, a single Planning and Zoning Commission is not something that, I'm sorry, not even he's recommending that. Here's some cities, same thing, nobody's got 5. So, Merry Christmas to everyone. I really mean that, and I'll put these in the public record.
Okay, I'll need a motion to close public hearing, please.
Motion to close.
A motion by Dennis Cullen, second by Councilman Chris Lower. I'll need a motion to move the ordinance.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Dennis Cullen.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kent Shakespeare. Any discussion? Councilman Todd Lambert, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like a bunch of you guys that spoke tonight, asked the question why, because I received this information right before I got my package that we was going to reduce the amount of planning commission members. No reason why. From maybe some of y'all guys might have been working on it, but I might have been left out of the loop, I guess. And I don't go to all the planning commission meetings, but I sit there and I'll watch every planning commission meeting. And I do want to commend all the planning commission members. Watched the last one for 2 hours, and all members I found did a professional job. And guys, Mr. Dumas said that the planning commission's falling apart. Well, is it because it's falling apart, you're going to drop it to 5? No, you work it and you fix it. So I'm going to make a substitute motion that we keep it at 9 members.
A substitute motion by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any discussion? Any objection?
Object.
Roll call, Ms. Cinnamon, please.
Councilman Kuat.
Object.
Councilman Cullen.
Object.
Councilman Johnson.
Object.
Councilman Joseph.
Yeah.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
No.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Lohr.
No.
Councilman Shake Snyder.
No.
Councilman Thompson.
No.
Okay, that will fail. We'll go back to the original motion, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to offer an amendment to the motion, to the ordinance.
that under terms, the appointed by the Ascension Parish Council, terms of members shall be as follows. 2 members shall serve an initial 1-year term, and 3 members shall serve an initial 2-year term. Thereafter, each member shall serve a 2-year term, dropping it from 4 to 2-year term. And also would like to also amend the current member's term shall expire immediately.
Have a motion by Councilman Benny Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Any discussion?
One more
Councilman
amendment.
Todd Lambert.
One more amendment, Mr. Chairman. Since 9 commissions didn't fly, I'd like to go to a happy medium and let's go 7. I think 5 is small, guys. You know, we got a big parish. Let's go to a happy medium. Let's go to 7 members.
Got a substitute motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Randy Cluott. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is adopted.
No, that's the First Amendment.
That's the First Amendment.
You got to voted on the First Amendment to have 7.
We voted on Todd's amendment, so now we need to vote
Okay,
on
Councilman Lambert's amendment passed. Now we have to vote on Councilman Benny Johnson. Have any discussion? I have a first and I have a second for Benny. Any discussion? Any?
I have.
All right, Councilman Joseph.
We're approved to go to 7,
That's correct.
but we still gonna abolish the original 9. Correct?
That's correct. We're going with, we're
And
voting right
reappoint-
now on Councilman
and
Johnson's.
reappoint 7.
That's correct.
Change.
And the time frame also. Benny, you want to repeat your
That'll change
motion?
the numbers to
Yes.
3 for 1-year term and 4 for a
Okay.
2-year term, but still staying with a 2-year term.
Any more discussion? Any objection?
Yes.
Roll call, Ms. Summerlin, please.
Councilman Kulat.
Yes.
Councilman Cullen.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Joseph.
No. I'm objecting, we should stay 9.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Lohr.
Yes.
Councilman Shake Snyder.
Yes.
Councilman Adrian Thompson.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Okay, before we get to you, Councilman Lambert, I want to give thanks to John Conley, Clint Falcon, and Lester Kenyon for all the hard work they do in putting this meeting on. Cinnamon and Myra, thank y'all very much. Tony, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get Ben. The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Department, thank y'all very much. Appreciate you. As always, the parish employees, the backbone of our parish, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support. I'd like to recognize Miss Jordan Weber, please, daughter of our OEP head, Rick Weber, and his wife, for her graduation Saturday from LSU. I have a happy birthday to Sandra Pereira, December 21st, Ricky Compton, November 19th, and George Rodille, November 7th. In closing, being my last meeting, I would certainly like to thank my family for all their support. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. My wife standing by me for all these 4 years, actually for 42 years. But President Martinez, I believe you have something.
Call Mr. Bell up, Mr. Cullen and Thompson.
Come on, Adrian.
We got a drink. Just want to take this opportunity to thank you three guys for your service to Ascension Parish. And first of all, I'm going to thank Mr. Adrian Thompson, who represents District 3 in the Dare area, Geismar area, and had 12 years of great service, brought a lot of things to that area. Certainly lights, sewer, did a lot of things, helped me with Lamar Dixon, and Mr. Thompson, I just want to thank you for your service and doing a great job. Next, Mr. Dennis Cullen, who only got spent 4 years with, but got to know, and good friend, did an excellent job in representing your district, and certainly want to thank you for your 4 years of service. Thank you. I have Mr. Pat Bell, who served as chairman for the past 4 years, did an excellent job, and we're going to miss you three guys. Hopefully the guys that take your place so we can all work together in unity and get things done, make Ascension Parish better. But Pat, we appreciate your service and certainly appreciate you being chairman all these years. Thank you.
Thank you, President Martinez. I would like to say I certainly appreciate the administration, all the support. Our parish is strong as it is because of our administration, our working force. Councilman Benny, Todd, Chris, Randy, Dempsey, Kent, Oliver, Adrian, and Dennis. I thank y'all for all y'all's support these last 4 years. It was a great help to me, and I appreciate y'all, and we'll never forget you. I would also like to announce tonight, I found out that Councilman Cullen will be a new grandpa.
We also have one, Mr. George Valentine is not here tonight, but we have a certificate also for him. We'll make sure that he gets it for his 8 years of service. Thank you, George. Thank y'all.
Let's get a picture. Let's get a picture. Hold up. Take it, man. Hold up.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, can I have the floor?
Yes, sir.
We want to hold everybody here. We hadn't adjourned the meeting yet, so let's everybody stand steady. Go ahead.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert to adjourn, second by Councilman Chris Lohr.